Hey everyone, welcome back to Automation. So today we're going to be doing something slightly different, not completely different. I'm still going to be building in Automation and BeamNG as I usually do, so don't click off immediately. But I'm going to be making a car based on another game, specifically Saints Row. So I've been a fan of the Saints Row franchise for a long time. I've played 2, 3, 4, Gat Out of Hell, and now the newest one was just sent to me by Volition, so I figured I'd give it a try. Regardless of what your opinion of that game is, I think it's important to note that it does have car customization just like the old games do, and I appreciate that. The game itself is pretty mediocre, if not very average or less than average, but I do like that it has that detail similar to Saints Row 3 and 4 and 2 as well. One thing I remember from 4 is that you have superpowers and you can run super fast, so it de-incentivizes car usage, but 3 is the game that I played the most. That one I'm always customizing cars and stuff. So we're gonna actually make a car based on what you would get in Saints Row 3. The new game has a slightly different style to it, which is alright, but Saints Row cars to me are always about those like purple vehicles, you know what I mean. But a Saints Row car, in my eyes, one driven by the Saints crew or the Saints themselves, has got to be purple, it's got to have big rims, and it basically has to be that like donk style vehicle. So let's give it a try. Going out on a bit of a limb here, let's just pick this 2009 sedan because why not? It says SUV in its title, but you know what? I think it's going to be a good one. I find that a lot of the Saints Row cars, they're semi parodies of other like realistic vehicles, similar to what GTA does, but with its own little spin on things. So, I mean, that's what I do in Automation as well. We may as well explore that style a little bit more. So this is the setup I'm going to go with a front longitudinal engine this time, because I think that'll be kind of fun. We'll basically kind of make this a BMW-esque, so it's going to have an inline 6 in the front, or maybe an inline 5, I don't know. One of the things I was thinking of, total aside, but for the drag race showcase, I was going to try and do the fastest inline 5, but maybe we can do that another time. Let's go rear wheel drive, and we'll make it semi-modern with an overhead cam, 4 valves, and all cast components. So definitely not the best stuff, but it doesn't have to be. I think style is more important than anything in this build. Exactly 3.4 liters is going to be a good size as well. Let's do cast internals for now and I'll come back. Okay, I've basically flown through this just to try and get an idea of what we're working with. Unfortunately, our crank is weak as heck, so I'm going to have to increase that to something a little bit better. Maybe definitely need a dampener, a balance shaft to keep it balanced, and we can get away with cast with that. So seeing as this is basically just a regular family sedan, except pimped, that's essentially what it is. It's just a pimped version of a regular car. I'm just going to make it like 300 horsepower and then we'll call it a day. It doesn't need to be extremely fast is what I'm trying to say. One of the reasons I'm going 4-door though is that you want to be able to bring your crew with you. So yeah, obviously we need more doors. And there we go, that's 305 horsepower, and we're using just regular fuel, which is kind of funny. Decent naturally aspirated curve, nothing crazy. And I think that's going to be good. I could probably raise this up just a little bit more before destroying everything. Somewhere around there, and we'll rev up, but yeah, 305 horses, let's do it. The Saints in my mind have always been more about aesthetics than actual performance, so let's go ahead and just paint this some like ridiculous shade, because of course I don't think we can do, actually yeah, apparently we can paint cast whatever the heck we want. Let's go like bright purple. That is very, very bright and I like it. I'm gonna go with like wrinkle paint maybe for this. It's gonna be like 50 shades of purple at this point. This legitimately just looks like a kid's toy, but I really don't mind it. Alright, that is 300 horsepower, and I think that's going to be good enough. I'm guessing we'll go for the big sedan version, although this does have truck variants and SUV variants, and I think I might have used it recently as a van, but it's okay. We'll use it as it is, and maybe try and morph it a little bit as well. This is a really awkward thing on this body, but only the interior of the wheel wells actually comes out, so it's got these like huge lips on it, which is very, very strange. I'm gonna make this car extremely exaggerated because I think that that's kind of fun. I actually really like the overall shape of it, except for maybe the back. So there's not much to change except for those. Body color is extremely important. We're gonna go two-tone purple and a different purple because I like that sort of variance of things, but this is gonna be our base color. And then what else we got? Maybe, we can't do a full two-tone, but we can go for a, either white, no, white is horrible, black roof probably is a good call. Windows can be default, and then trim panels, this is kind of important. I guess the trim will be chrome, which will be good. Wow, that is a lot of purple and a lot of fun. Let's see what else we can do. Wheels, okay, let me get fancy with this. I changed my mind and made everything that was black into yellow because I think it'll be even cooler that way. So now we have a goldish, chromish vehicle of sorts, and I'm definitely down. Because this car is going to be ridiculously exaggerated, it also isn't going to drive the best. Like, I'm not going to make it specifically to be a good driving car. I just want to make it so that it actually, like, looks ridiculous, including making the entire running gear purple, by the way. This is the most donk car I've created in a long time, but I really like it. The wheels are so important that I've skipped all the way to them. So let's make them bigger because I want to try and make the rims as humanly large as possible. You know, I've actually made something very similar to this in the past, but I did it for Midnight Club. And that was an interesting experience. I like making these sort of weird donks. They're just, I don't know, they're just fun. So I think I'm going to go with these very ridiculous sort of SUV-esque rims. They remind me of, like, I guess early 2000s Cadillacs type thing, and that is exactly what we need on this car. If you're looking for donk rims, there are a ridiculously large amount of them in this game, including some really funky ones, which are very fun. These are also very fitting. Yeah, you can probably tell I'm having a lot of fun with this. Yeah, I'm going to keep skipping through because we kind of just need to get a stance on this before we go too far. All this stuff doesn't really matter. Like, it's basically just luxury interior and all that, and power steering, stuff that'll make it actually drive. So I've decided to go for a little bit of a different approach with the wheels than what I was doing before. These are wide fenders that I've added because I think they look good, and also because we're going wide body, because of course we are. But in order to make them work, I've had to shrink the actual fenders that the car has. Essentially, the easiest way to fix that is just to go into the advanced fancy settings that you get with the beta, and then just widen the wheel offset significantly. So we could just keep going until it's got some good fitment somewhere around, looks like 85, maybe 90 is perfect. So definitely a wide car still. I'm going to use my go-to side skirt method, which is literally just grabbing a lip, making it big, and also putting it on both sides before I forget, and just slapping her on there. Large size hopefully makes up for the fact that it looks really funky. However, it looks good from afar. I love making these weird outlandish cars, but we do have to keep things at least a little bit grounded. I forgot to put a fuel cap on my last car, and for those of you fuel cap people out there, would you look at that? There's one right there. This car doesn't have to be realistic. Let's put Tesla door handles on it because, of course, they're shaved. Yeah, I think it's just kind of cool. Plus, it gives me the opportunity to turn them chrome, so if I can do anything with sort of a yellowish pea-colored gold chrome, then I'm feeling good. Alright, I'm going to start at the back because I always start at the front, and let's put some taillights on this car. It's sort of a hatchback-ish type thing. This is a weird vehicle. I think it's supposed to be a liftback, so I'll have to keep that in mind for the headlights and stuff. But let me just try and slap something together. Let's do two-part headlights, or taillights, I mean. So by two-part taillights, I mean I'm going to take something like this, attempt to rotate it, and then have the game say no, and then I'll just kind of line it up with the line here. if I can. Wow, this is really uncooperative. Now that actually looks really cool. I've done something interesting for once. This is a lip on top of the lights, and it's sort of blending them all together in a nice way. So that's what I'm going with on the back. I think we should have some kind of big wing. Maybe not like a big wing, not like this. Actually, that doesn't look that bad. Hold on a minute. Oh, it really doesn't want to be on there, but I'm trying my best. There you go, buddy. That ain't even bad. I'm actually gonna keep that unless I find something better. That's very weird car-esque, but it fits this theme so well. Okay, that's definitely good. Honestly, every time I try to make a vehicle in this game, I always get a little bit worried that it's gonna turn out looking like garbage. And that does happen sometimes. A lot of my builds, the ones that are rushed, I should say, turn out pretty poor, but I would say that today is a good example of one that's turned out quite nice, and I'm fairly impressed with what I've got so far. So let's make it way worse and then just add in some stuff that really doesn't want to lock on properly. But I'm thinking, because this is sort of a fast vehicle, question mark, that maybe we can add some race pedigree in there and have a diffuser, for better or worse. It's got cutouts for dual exhaust. We don't need dual exhaust, but it just feels very saintsy to have like very showy dual exhaust and not even actually use it. Like, that's just kind of fun to me. So let's do it. Also, again, I absolutely love how everything underneath is pink. Even, well, I mean, I could paint the exhaust pink. Why not? Let's just do it right now. Go over to this exhaust, purple. Oh, it's beautiful. You know the tips are going to be gold, don't you? It's just part of the deal. But yeah, I named this car the Dominator because like literally every Saints Row thing has some kind of innuendo, so Dominator it is. Basically, this is just a very funky back end on a very interesting car, and I really, really like how it's turning out. I decided to add an extra little grille in the bottom, and I put a little lock in it, so that's sort of the open button area, but it doesn't make any sense. Like, this car is just dumb for the sake of being dumb and all over the place for the sake of being all over the place. Dominator is a great name for it, and the gold trim is really popping. So let's try and do a little bit more on the front end. We got a bunch of stuff on the inside as well. Maybe I'll do an interior this time. It's been a while. Usually Saints Row cars have a little bit of an interior, but yeah. Let me see, what else can we do? We got like a whole roof that's empty, some side pieces that are just demanding some kind of trim, and then obviously mirrors and stuff, so I'm going to work that out one thing at a time. Alright, so the front end is going to be a tricky one. I'm actually going to do lights first, I think. That's sort of what I did over here and then built around it, but grille is important. We don't have any turbos or anything fancy like that, so this thing, it looks crazy, but realistically it's kind of not. It's only got 300 horsepower. And again, it reinforces that idea that the Saints are all bark, no bite. You know, I wanted to give a little mini review of the new game in this video because I felt like it was a decent opportunity to do so. So I think maybe I'll do that now. But basically, it's kind of strange how they've done the new game. It seems like they aren't trying to appeal to the previous audience because the game hasn't grown up as the audience has. It's kind of gotten for a younger audience even, which is strange. So they're trying to attract the new generation. The game is still rated M, so it's got to be 17-year-old kids and up theoretically. But I don't think that anybody in that age group is actually going to like the game. That might just be my opinion. But risking the point of being that old man who's yelling at a cloud for the young kids in their weird ways these days, but the game and the dialogue especially just doesn't really make sense, especially to how I personally see the humor of the younger generation. Like, it's like it's trying to be hip, but it's just not, and that's probably the biggest problem with the game. Like, combat is fun. It's decent enough. I don't like some of the changes, but I can live with them. It's not the end of the world. Again, I like Saints Row 3 the best, especially the skill tree and all that, where you have to buy your skills. I think that's fine. But the new game, it just gives you them, and then you have 4 slots. It's like, I don't know. It's not quite the way I was hoping it would be. The physics in the driving are just an absolute disaster. I don't know what happened there. Speaking positively, there are some creative ideas that I do like. I like the whole cardboard stuff without spoiling too much, but the whole cardboard idea is a lot of fun, and I think that's a good way to get into nerd culture a little bit with that one character. That is just very creative, and I think that was a fun section. One thing that they seem to be trying to change is that the Saints have always been bad people, and that's kind of part of the point. That's sort of how they get away with stuff. They're just completely unfeeling mass murderers who will do literally anything for whatever reason they want. And the whole beginning of the game is like the new characters struggling to pay rent, but also kind of being thieves and burglars at the same time. Like, why would you not just threaten your landlord or something? It would be very in character for them to just kill the landlord, at least of the old Saints. I mean, that's literally the start of Saints Row 3, is they just go and murder some people and steal their penthouse. But like the new Saints, they're too scared to not pay rent. I don't understand. It's also Epic's Game Store exclusive at the moment. I don't like when games do that, but I mean, it makes sense because it's on the Unreal Engine. They definitely got offered something by Epic to be able to stay there, so again, that's just how things are these days. Exclusivity all over the place. Graphically speaking, the game is pretty much outclassed by every other open world game. It surprisingly doesn't look very good. The lighting is fine, but everything else is kind of off. And the character models are just freaky as well. The new character creator has a lot of options, but it's almost like too many options. It's overwhelming to the point that I skipped most of it. But if you're really into that, it has that for you, I guess. Just in summary, I think we should talk about the bugs and stuff, because yeah, it's actually very bad. I was shocked. Like, I was reading reviews and stuff to see what people thought of it in terms of bugs and things. It was often talked about, but I didn't actually expect to experience it. A lot of the time, I mean, I play a lot of games these days, and I don't ever experience the same amount of jank that a lot of people do. It's usually less, or it's usually a little overblown. But man, oh man, there's a lot of weird stuff and weird choices, and it's weird to see that in my game as well. So as an example, this is just something that happens every time you leave a car. You take damage because your character gets hit by the car door. It's like the door hits you on the way out of the car and you take damage. It happens so often that I'm shocked that they didn't notice it in QA, or I guess they just didn't prioritize that as a fix. But it's so weird. The game itself is fairly average. Like, none of the Saints Row games have ever been incredible, so it's not like most of the Saints Row games are 6s or 7s out of 10. Like, they're mediocre games, but they're fun, and the fun is really where it is for me. Like, I don't care so much about how good a game is, quote unquote. I just want it to be fun. And the new Saints Row game has some fun, but it's a lot of tedium, a lot of bugs. I had to restart the game because I found that this one thing I was supposed to destroy was indestructible. Stuff like that really should have been ironed out well before the game came out. Cringy dialogue means I'm tempted to skip all the cutscenes. Like, it's just unfortunate that it's turned out this way. It's not the end of the world, it's not the worst game ever, but it's just mediocre, and that sucks. So yeah, I would wait for a sale, or if you can get it for free somehow when it eventually comes to Game Pass, then I would encourage you to do that. But for now, stick to the old ones. Right, back to the car. You can see a little bit of progress has been made as I've been talking. I've been focused on trying to get this thing sorted. And the front grille is taking shape. I'm using one of these preset grills. I never do this, but I just thought it would be fun to use one for this purpose. I'm just going ahead and trying to get the meshes and everything to be what I want them to be. Lots of gold, lots of purple. Definitely in the right place. Now, I think obviously we need sort of a brand symbol for this, so I'm going to go to badges real quick and put something on here. It's been nice to be able to use all these random ones. I like how people are creating these by the gazillions at this point. I have no specific brand name for this, so I'm just gonna, like, I don't know, we'll just put like one of these dragon version things on here. This is very well done, but I mean, Dragon Ferrari? It's definitely strange. Okay, I think I might be done. It's been a while, but I've been having a ton of fun with this car, and I have also plastered it with Dominator decals because I felt like it needed just something, just a little something. I forgot to put wipers on it. I mean, okay, we'll just slap some quick ones on there. Other than that, though, and the interior, I guess, it's pretty much good. I'm having a lot of fun with this. It's really fun to make these weird cars. Having them not be bound by the perils of realism is what I'm going to call it. It means that I can pretty much do whatever the heck I want and then just say, it's from a game, whatever. So that's my excuse. If you're wondering why something's missing, the answer is, it's from a game, whatever. Yikes, that's one of the better sort of mid-detail cars that I've made. I am thoroughly happy with it. But that's going to be it for the Dominator, I guess. Let's skip forward again and see what the rest of it lies for us after... Okay, I keep delaying it, but I should slap in something quick. These dashboards are all like way too old for this car, but I'm just going to put one in anyways. We're not going to see it, so it doesn't particularly matter. Okay, the car officially has a dashboard, which is a good start. You can't really see it, but it's in there. Let's just put some seats in and we'll call it finished. So the seats look like they're made out of actual like plastic, but maybe that's better for a backseat in a Saints Row car considering the things that go on around here. And we'll put two sort of racing style seats in the front, I think. Okay, interiored. Let's go ahead and finish off the rest of the car. So it's going to be rear wheel drive, automatic, 6-speed. Let's see how we're doing on the old graphs here. Thinks it can do 260 something. I don't know how realistic that is. 258 kilometers an hour, that's pretty fast. It's not crazy, but it is reasonably fast. Currently open diffs. Let's make a geared LSD just to get rid of that wheel spin. Although there isn't much, so it shouldn't be too bad. Brakes are way too small. We can fix that. And I think everything else is fine. So yeah, the wheels are as big as they can be, but obviously I've moved them out further. I think the size is actually good. I was going to make them ridiculous, but they don't need to be. I think this is like the perfect stance for this car. And obviously brakes we can just increase the size of tremendously, so I'll just make these as huge as possible. The backs probably don't need to be as big as as the fronts, but having these be large is not a bad thing. So I just optimized for lightness because the car was a little bit heavy. It was going to be a bit slower than what I was hoping, so we're down to 2,000 kilos. Everything else is good, I think. Let's just put it in BeamNG and take it for a drive. A couple problems on the old very picky car suggestions thing, but that's not a big worry. Yeah, time for BeamNG. So this is the car in BeamNG. It actually looks really good. Something happened in the back lenses, but not super worried about it. The yellow is a gold enough color that it actually is like a very nice gold. The pink underbody, it's kind of turned a little blue, but it's not too bad. Hold on a minute. That Bentley over there is making some terrible noise. Yeah, this thing is my previous sort of Saints-ish car, but it was for not Saints Row, basically having massive donk wheels because, of course, it does. It doesn't drive very well, and I just wanted to show you what I'm capable of in terms of making things that are absolutely horrible, as a way to contrast this car, which looks quite good. So let's start her up. It is absolutely deafeningly loud as a straight 6. My volume is turned up way too much. Yeah, it's good, I would say. It's definitely good. Okay, my immediate problem I'm having is that the front wheels are probably too wide, but overall as a driver, just in the last like 100 meters or whatever I've driven so far, it's actually really good. Yeah, whatever sort of handling model they're using to transfer cars into BeamNG these days is actually working out a lot better than the old one was, and cars are generally much better to drive, this one being no exception to that rule. So I'm in the Utah map today because I figured Utah would be the best place to test this car, as the new Saints Row game takes place in a desert area, for better or worse. Personally, I don't think that's particularly a good thing. It's just kind of screaming as a copy of GTA 5 taking place in the desert, and also, like, seems like every open world game these days has large desert areas, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's an excuse to have a lot of land and not much in it. But there's some really good maps, or really good roads on this map. I'm gonna say things in reverse today. And that basically just means that we have a chance to drive this car and talk about some more stuff while there's still a little bit of time left. The back lights up so much when you hit the brakes. Oh my goodness, there are a lot of lights back there. So yeah, I wanted to make this video as sort of a way to shake things up a little bit. I'm hopeful that you enjoyed it. Having references to other games in this game is something that I think is kind of cool, and I was just hopeful that that people would find that to be cool as well. I know, like, as soon as I cover a game that isn't automation, most people don't watch it, although I do appreciate the ones who do. The last video I made was on a game called Trailout. The video is up on my channel now, called The Real Flat Out 3. I would encourage that you watch that and let me know what you think of it. I do make videos other than just automation and BeamNG at least once in a while. But I think the best way to kind of go about things, at least from a success perspective, is to sort of mix them together, and that's sort of what this is. And it's a test for the future because I have a couple more games I want to try this with. But yeah, guys, I appreciate any feedback on these videos, especially constructive feedback. If you have something good to say, then say it. You got something bad to say it nicely. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, if you're interested and you want to download this car, just let me know. I'll post it in the Discord. That's where I tend to post things like this. It is the hub of our community, other than the YouTube comments section, which is sometimes a travesty, so yeah, I don't know. Discord is the place to be. That being said, boys, thank you for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you again next week for more. Apologies on this one being late. I just got a bit busy on Friday night when I normally would make these. And yeah, that's gonna be it. Let's crash it into something quickly because that's what I always need to do at the end of these videos. We gotta run into some kind of ditch. Off of a cliff, perhaps? That's not even a cliff? Wow, lamest crash ever, but at least it's something. See you again next week. I just want to say a special thank you to those who have chosen to support this channel via the join button. This is my Patreon. If you were looking to support me a little bit extra, then this is the place to do it. I also have a website, automotiveflux.com, where I sell stickers, and I am still shipping those out to anybody who orders, so yeah, be sure to check those out too. But for now, I just gotta say thank you to Overlord, QT Bear, Terrio1, J Pope, Davis Heister, the German dude, Nat64, ooh, I had the list memorized for a while there, but things have changed. Sinlab, Badger, Phoenix Shark, Baja Blast, Trevor Cousin, and Goofy Plays. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you a lot. So I'll see you again next time, and I look forward to making more of these sort of hybrid videos. We'll see what happens. I got some ideas. Some of them good, some of them definitely not.